Hello everybody, it's Charlie with 4BZ Truth. I actually wanted to make a video about a conversation that I was having yesterday with a group of guys at work, and it kind of started with this guy that I was kind of giving him a little background of where I'm coming from with conspiracies and the basically the template that, or the viewing lenses of perspective that I look through in order to interpret. Because everybody looks at pretty much all information through their informational bias. And basically what I was trying to point out to him is that I consider pretty much anything as far as media, potential propaganda, or swaying material to pacify the masses or to establish some sort of narrative to, get people to think a certain way. And that's kind of what has built our society, is the powers that be trying to sway the masses to believe certain ways or whatever. And so it kind of evolved into, he asked if I believed in the moon landing, and then I said no, I thought it was a freaking crock of crap, that it was all lies. And then then he's like, you don't believe in the flat earth, do you? And I'm like, yeah, I actually do. But then I was like, there's things that I am hesitant on, but things that I'm not sure about, so it's hard for me to just put all my eggs in one basket. And anyways, as soon as I mentioned that, he almost like started getting elevated, like he had to convince me away from any stupidity, I guess, like it was his knee-jerk thought. And as the conversation evolved, and a couple other guys actually overheard what we were talking about, and they started joining in and basically attacking me. But the third guy was almost more interested to learn my perspective as to why or how I could come to the conclusion that I came to. So he wasn't like scrutinizing me and trying to tear my foundation apart, which I appreciated, because anybody that's willing to see a perspective from someone else's shoes can actually change a perspective. But when you're trying to view it from your own template or your own understanding of things, oftentimes you're gonna find ways to deflate it before you understand it. So the title of this video is "Don't Dump the Baby Out with the Bathwater." Sorry, I had to cut to another area here. But anyways, I'm trying to not disturb my baby from sleeping, so my wife told me to go in the other room. Anyways, well, I'm actually outside now. But so the point that I'm trying to make is that these guys that I was talking to, people are so willing to defend their position to where any information that might support a different position will be rejected. And this concept of don't dump the baby out with the bathwater has become a predominant perspective for me, because people are only interested in defending a position and not interested in learning truth in general. Now, sometimes truth is weeding through the freaking BS in order to find the gems, I guess. That, like, all these analogies, like freaking eat the meat, spit out the bones. There's so many different things to look at, and sometimes you just have to take a different position when you're viewing the evidence. Like I always like to use the analogy of like seeing through your viewing lenses. It's like you get a new prescription on your glasses, you can see more clearly. And if you take off your glasses, you're not going to be able to see it as clearly. So I'm in the mindset that you pretty much have to have a bias in order to correctly interpret information. But when it comes to accepting or rejecting information, you have to really just see things for what they are first, and then try to figure out from your template how that might fit into your puzzle, so to speak. So, because obviously there's too much information to really hash out in your life, but we look for patterns in this reality. We look for things that show truth, and truth is not always subjective, but it can be absolute, in my opinion. I mean, I always use the same analogy of 1 + 1 = 2, but things actually are more complex. There's a lot more complexity, and you can find patterns in the complexities as well. So all that stuff is very important to understand when interpreting information. And I feel like I'm just beating a dead horse with all this all the time. I'm always thinking about how to consider reality from the correct viewing lens. And a lot of people that I talk to are still stuck in that mindset of, oh, I just need to defend my position, that's it. And they'll get offended before they understand the perspective. And they'll dump the baby out with the bathwater. So I'm gonna basically, I did a Google search of that term, and I guess it's an old term that they used, like, I don't know, a while back. But it basically, it's a concept of rejecting information before you understand the big picture. And you can reject good information while you're rejecting bad information. And if you're only looking for a way to validate your own perspective, then you're not a true truth seeker. And people will look at my research or my pursuit of knowledge as being convoluted, and that I don't actually truly care about truth. I just care about validating my perspective, because they think, oh, well, if you're looking at the flat earth, clearly you're stupid. So, but that's kind of that knee-jerk response, that people will get because of the programming. And I don't know if people realize, but we are programmed. This is the way our society functions. And I think it's important that we come to the realization that you just have to kind of start over from scratch. Yeah, there's certain things we have to, there's tools that we have been given. Language, we've been given culture, and we have to kind of use the tools that we're given. But there is a basis for how we interpret information. We have to try to look at it as simplistically as possible. And I'm constantly looking at the spiritual aspects of things, because I feel like there are ultimate, there's implications to how we are and what we do in this world. And really the flat earth thing really is the secondary issue. The main issue is understanding why we're here. From the Christian template, I believe that if you truly are trying to understand the correct interpretation, it's going to say that we are to be obedient to God. He has Jesus laid the foundation, and we are to follow his pattern. That's the bottom line to Christianity. And maybe there's some sort of template in reality that we're supposed to follow, but Christianity was basically the cookie cutter that helped us see that law. So I believe that there's probably things in other religions that are good as well. And a lot of people will reject it before they understand it. the same thing goes for those who are Christians, that they'll reject information even before they fully understand it. So like Eastern philosophies and things like that. I think that maybe there's some sort of pattern that I've identified to, and that is there is templates that were like little patterns that we were supposed to figure out, and we've been what is that verse in the Bible that says it is something for kings to seek out a thing. I need to, if anybody's listened to this and have kind of gone down the same path as me, I think there's a proverb that says, let me try to remember this. Basically, it's saying it's wise for you'll be wise like a king if you want to seek out the information, because information is there for the seeking. And I think that that's why I'm here. I believe that other people are, not so concerned about seeking out knowledge. And in a lot of ways, the Bible will say that knowledge is vanity, and it's puffed up. And to some degree, I think that's true. But I also believe that knowledge is there for a reason, and everything in moderation. If you let knowledge become your quote unquote God, then yeah, you're letting it. I guess you can dump the baby out with the bathwater, and on the other side of the spectrum too, you could take in too much, and you embrace the bad. So don't dump out everything and reject the good. And don't embrace everything and embrace the bad as well. So on the other side of the spectrum. So that's kind of the message for today. And it's a beautiful morning, and I'm enjoying it over here in Boise, Idaho. If any of you stumble on this message from anywhere else in the world, I'm interested to know where you're at. Even just leave a message saying I'm in Europe, or I'm in Asia, or whatever, or specific locations. I'm interested to know how far-reaching this kind of stuff is getting. And if you like where I'm going with this kind of information, this kind of stuff I talk about all the time. So like, share, subscribe, whatever you want to do to get the message out. And honestly, I want you to subscribe so that whenever I post a video, and click on the bell icon so that you can get the updates. And there's going to be stuff that I talk about that you probably won't like, but I just hope that you don't reject everything that I'm saying just based on the fact that you disagree with one thing. So hopefully you can join me on my journey of trying to figure things out, and I look forward to talking with you guys down the road. Definitely leave your comments, and I'll hash things out, dialogue with you guys. So I will talk to you later. All right, thanks for visiting the 4BZ Truth channel. All right, talk to you later.